James Comey's advanced testimony backing the president's claims he was never under investigation, and he was told that. But the liberal media telling a whole different story in some respects.
We're hearing often from reports inside the White House that he just doesn't listen.
I'm going to tell you this, there's a lot of smoke and there are a lot of alarm bells.
And this is a code red situation for the Trump presidency, an emergency situation that's not going to go away, and therefore it's a code red situation for the country.
So I guess it's a code red situation to Dan Rather. I guess someone should hit him. I think he was stuck on something. So why the disconnect? Here to debate, former Director of Strategic Communications for Hillary Clinton, Adrian Elrod, and the GOP strategist we like to call Lisa Booth, and a Fox News contributor. Adrian, what do you take from the media coverage of what James Comey released yesterday?
Look, by no means is Donald Trump out of the woods yet. Mike Flynn, his former national security advisor, is still under investigation. Officials from his campaign are still under investigation. And Robert Mueller, special counsel Robert Mueller, is still very much looking into Donald Trump and what kind of collusion he may have had with Russia. So there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and I hope we'll get more of those answers today with Mr. Comey's testimony.
Right. But if what President Trump rang to me, Lisa, is that he wants to get stuff done. And he really feels as though inside Washington, you guys would know better, there's that cloud holding back his agenda. He said, release me and continue the investigation. Is that what you walked away with?
Well, yeah, and the former FBI Director James Comey also stated in his written testimony both 3 times that the president himself is not under investigation, and also that this is a counterintelligence investigation as opposed to a criminal investigation. That being said, I don't think the president has helped himself. A lot of these conversations he probably just should have never had in the beginning, although even liberal law professors like Jonathan Turley have said that it does not amount to obstruction of justice. But I do think there's a danger here for the media as well as Democrats for really overplaying their hand. You look at the Harvard-Harris poll, and the majority of Americans believe that there is fake news out there. There was a BuzzFeed article not too long ago about Democrats on background talking to this reporter about concerns that they are overplaying their hand regarding the Russia investigation. So I do think there's a danger for the Democratic Party to really overreach, particularly when you have Senator Dianne Feinstein, who has said that there's no evidence of collusion. Even someone like Representative Maxine Waters, who has pushed conspiracy theories before, saying on record that there's no evidence of collusion.
All right, Adrian, having said that, just to bring up the Jonathan Turley, the quote that stuck with me was, we don't indict or impeach people for being boorish or clueless or simply being Donald Trump. So you're not in legal trouble, but Mr. President, that you shouldn't have been doing that. Adrian, what do you expect to hear today? If I was to give you an opportunity to ask a couple of questions after reading what Comey said.
Well, first of all, I would want to know what sort of pressure Mr. Comey felt that Donald Trump was giving him in all of the meetings that they had. You know, Donald Trump met with Mr. Comey 9 times. Several of those conversations were just one-on-one with Mr. Comey, which is something I would certainly not want to put myself in if I was the President of the United States. So what we want to know from Mr. Comey is what sort of pressure did he feel from the President? Did he feel any pressure tactics that made him feel that he had to do any sort of, had to do anything to influence the investigation in the President's favor?
And I can tell by your tone, you're like a lot of Democrats who say, I'm not too pleased with him either. And Lisa, real quick, what would you ask?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get some clarity over his written testimony, and also I think it was the May's 3rd testimony when he said that he had never felt politically pressured to not investigate or, felt political pressure in this investigation. So I'd like to get some clarity around those comments, and I'd also like to hear from him about some of the leaks that we've been seeing that have undermined our national security as well.
Right. Someone was seeing these memos and calling up the New York Times and Washington Post. Man, it's unbelievable. It's like the intelligence agencies on some level have turned on this White House. Adrian Elrod, thanks so much, and thanks so much to Lisa Booth. Great job, guys.
Thanks for having
me.
me.
Thank you.